Yes. Okay.
Hi Robyn, welcome to the Muddy Waters Gallery and your awesome exhibition,
Thank you.
He Wairua Taonga.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now, what's your background?
Okay, so I've got a background where I actually started art process when I was about 24. I always thought I was useless at art when I was at school. Actually, my first art piece was the toilet wall in my parents' brand new home, where I carved a really long section of the toilet wall into what I thought was a beautiful forest landscape. And I remember getting so growled and told off about it that I didn't do any artwork and thought I was absolutely useless at it for many years afterwards. And it wasn't until I was about 24 and I'd met up with a friend who was going to Auckland Uni and was doing bone carving. So and she just told me all the equipment that I needed to do bone carving, and I thought I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
So I just went to the supply shop and I bought all the gear that I needed and I started bone carving. So that was my first.
So no lessons, no nothing, just
straight
into it.
Straight into it. I thought, yeah, I can do that, and I'd love to have a go at that.
Yeah.
And then from there, I moved into clay, and I started doing really small figurines. And someone invited me to do an exhibition. This was over in Sydney, to join up with an exhibition in Balmain, and I did, and was really successful with that. And I thought I really loved sculpture. I really loved the whole 3D thing. So I decided that I'd then go do some formal studying. And I thought, first of all, I was just going to go to a TAFE, like a polytechnic, and I ended up applying to the Sydney College of the Arts in Sydney and got accepted, and I thought, well, why not? I'll get a degree and I'll just go for it. And my major was in ceramics. I did glass, I did sculpture, I did print work, and I loved the ceramics, and I did it because I'm really interested in the technical side of art practice as well. So that's what inspired me, and that's what they offered in the ceramic field. Yeah. So, and at the same time, I mean, back here my sister was studying ceramics with Manos as well, my uncle. So anyway, and I was off on my own journey with my own ceramic process there. And I had entered that wanting to do sculpture, and the sculpture department was too airy-fairy for me, and it was very conceptual, and I really like hands-on practical. So yeah, I did the ceramics, and I ended up learning how to throw, doing the whole bit like that, and I loved it. And because I just get really obsessive with process. So 20 years later, 20 years later, well, I kind of, I guess it was a long time. I started that. I still did sculptural pieces with clay, but I wanted to know how to fire, I wanted to know how to glaze, I wanted to know how to throw. I set up my own studio just for like doing the practical throwing, making bowls, cups, and all the rest of it. And I had a partner at the time who did all the painting, and so we sort of became a team like that, and did really massive bowls. I made really huge jugs because I was so, everything had to be big, and I wanted it to be, dynamic and sculptural, and and then I moved up to northern New South Wales, to Lismore, and there is a university up there, Southern Cross Uni, and I met more people that were going to uni again, and I thought, well, why not? It was quite a good arts community up there as well. Why not just go and do my honours? Because I'd been offered to do honours, but I wanted to get out of Sydney at the time. So I went back to Southern Cross Uni, and this time I was actually at the stage that I wanted to extend myself a bit further than doing the ceramics. So I did some wood carving for my honours year, and I ended up winning an acquisitive prize with that as well for the Thursday plantation. So that all got bought, and I did 8 huge 2-metre high sculptures, and anyway, and I sort of did a few more other sculptural pieces after that as well. So, but that was my educational process. But I've always, I think just that whole thing, if I see something that I really want to do, then I just go and have that experience, however I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
So, whether it be bone carving or whether it be I'm going to carve that piece of wood, I'm going to do that. So, and I feel, and this is sort of how this is all evolved for me as well. It was kind of a passion of my artwork, because after I'd done the sculptural stuff, I'm not getting younger, and I just thought, and the old back was seizing up from bending over my wheel and doing all of that. Like, I'd done it for 20 years, and I just thought, no, there's got to be an easier way to create art. And I'm so passionate about that creative process that, I started painting then. And just, have I gone off track here? Probably.
No, you're right. And
just, for me, it was bringing together all the things that I had been learning in my art practice. Like, it was from the ceramics, I brought in all the textures that I'd used on my sculptures, and from the sculptures I brought in that 3D aspect. So it just became something that I could just, launch myself into and get lost in landscapes. And then first I painted with rollers because I really loved colour and just wanting to create textures. And then after that came the design with the, making the 3D design, which is what I've got with these bigger pieces.
Yes.
That was always an important aspect for me. Just that whole carving, and I think that sense of belonging to my cultural side. Yeah.
So was it a big leap from the painting to the photography?
Photography, I've always been interested in as well, and I've always taken photos all the time. So, once digital cameras came into play, it was wonderful, because you didn't have to worry
creating the art that you've got here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of it's a mix for me. It's a mix of all of the things that I've done, So the photographic part of it is for me, it's like a small aspect, because it's something that I'm seeing, and then I'm being able to say, well, actually, this is the way that this makes me feel. And I can do that by bringing together how I feel inside with my own artwork about this landscape, or this environment. And that's what brings in a joy for me. And I kind of came to this process too. I had my brother years ago say to me, because I always painted big as well, and saying to me, because he's great at just sitting and meditating on things and seeing things that not other people can see, and he'd go to me, now look at this, and look at this here, and you'd go, oh my God, he said, look, it's a photographic image of this. And it was just in the painting, from doing all this rollering and the, from all my brushwork and my textures and stuff, and he could see stuff in it, and he'd go, now wouldn't it be great if you could just bring that forward? And I thought, well, wouldn't that be great? So, and he said that to me many years ago, and I'd say to him now, well, I'm doing that now. Thanks, bro.
So you seem to have had periods where you've done different styles or mediums of art. Yes. Is there one, do you prefer one to another, or just as you've evolved through your processes, you've just gone from one to the next, and where do we go next, sort of thing? Yeah, I've just evolved, because that's it. I kind of get, somebody said to me, you're OCD, and that obsessive compulsive. And I guess I am like that, because once I begin something, I want to explore it. And I think the major one that really caught me was the ceramics. Because I was so caught in the whole process, because there was, the making, the firing, then the
adding the textures, the surfaces, and then the refiring, and all the process that went with that before you even got a piece, and if you got a piece, because, you know, that could blow up in the kiln. And even the firing was a major thing for me. I loved the firing, you know, just being part of all that process. So that really got me hooked for 20 years. So I was glad to let go. I was just so glad that I could let go. Yeah.
So the current exhibition is more about photography. What sort of processes there involved? Are they double images that you've manipulated, or have you done this taken one photo and actually coloured it on your computer, or how have you done that?
No. So with this, it's actually not about the photography for me. You know, like I don't see these as just photographic images, because, as I say, it is about that whole relationship that I have to a particular scenery that I'll be involved in. Not all the pieces have got photographs in them. Some of them are just simply my works that I've created, and then you know, I've created them into what you're seeing here. So I think the landscapes, because when I am painting, it is for me about a landscape. So that's where the colour and the joy of the painting is for me, is the landscape. So to bring the photograph into the works that I'm doing is an added bonus, because I get to share the feeling that I have for that landscape with my artwork. So, and you know, it's the paintings that I've done, and I mean, I've been painting for quite a long time. It's not just the, you know, like I say, oh well, I did the ceramics first and then I went on to the painting, but I've actually been painting, drawing all my life as part of my art process. But and that's also including my lino cuts as well, and also, because I did that for a little while, and then also, what else have I done here?
So this is sort of almost like threads of art all coming together, and they've all become combined now and twined together. And
that's how I see it. I just see it as, it's like suddenly you're working all your life and you're not knowing how you're going to get there, and then suddenly all the bits that you couldn't piece together have actually come together, and that feels amazing. You know, so for me, and I think it's working. So
And I love how you've done these on canvas rather than a photographic medium type paper or card, or the canvas really does add to the texture of it.
It does, and I really thought about creating. I would love to be able to create more texture in the canvas, but I can't put that through my printer.
So whereabouts would be your favourite place to go and see art? Do you have a favourite gallery, or?
Oh look, I love all galleries. If I know that there's artwork around and there's something special going on, I'll go and have a look. It just I was in Brisbane for quite some years just recently, so I was really lucky I could go to the you know, the biennales that were happening over there, or the Asia Pacific that show at Goma, and and all the garden sculptures, and you know, anywhere that you find it, it's beautiful.
So where do you carry out your work, your artwork?
I always have my own little studio. At the moment, I'm working out of my garage because I haven't been able to create that space so quickly. And I did try printing in my house, but it's just not good with the fumes. So I'm working hard at getting the studio together. But I like to have a nice quiet space to create, and it's been good. I've had a lot of time to be able to work on the pieces as well and create those, and I think because it's just a process of bringing together all my threads, yeah, it's been nice to have a quiet time for myself to just create the works. Yeah.
So, do you have a particular inspiration for your works as well?
Well, it's definitely the land, and it's definitely for me spirit, you know, and the connection that I feel with my Māori taonga, you know. So that's it for me. I just and you know, some of them I've just got. While I was away, I had this whole thing where my mother would go to me. You're surrounded by angels, you know. She'd say prayers, and then she'd say, "Oh well, angels go before you, behind you, beside you, blah blah blah." So I've got quite a few angels in my work because while I was away from home, I thought, yeah, I'm going to paint some angels.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today and having a chat. And I've thoroughly enjoyed your exhibition. It's just awesome. It's inspired me as well.
Oh, wonderful.
So
yeah.
Watch this space.
Great. Thank you so much, Sue. Thanks
Thank you,
for the
and
use of the space.
Congratulations on such an awesome exhibition.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.